The last thing I want to, two things I want to say about this campaign is, you know the differences between McCain and Obama on the economy and the war and healthcare and so forth, and we can do that in the Q&A if you want to. But there are two things that we don't talk about much. The first is restoring America. That is healing America. We've undergone 30 years of the most ugly, divisive, hate-filled politics, probably since the Know-Nothing era of the 1840s. And what their technique has been is to single out different groups, point the finger at them, and make them angry at that particular group, and then switch to another group later. And whether it's gay people or Hispanics or other minorities or immigrants, it's always somebody. That's great for winning elections. It is terrible for the country. And one of the things I so admire about Barack is he wants to be the president of all Americans, whether you agree or not. He's reaching out to evangelical Christians, and we think our initial reaction is, what? But if you look at evangelical Christians under 35, they're having a generational revolution too. You know what the top 3 issues are for evangelical Christians under 35? 1, poverty. 2, climate change. 3, Darfur. Why shouldn't we work with people with an agenda like that? We don't have to agree on everything in order to get something done about the things that we care about. And that's the message of this young generation to us. We were raised in confrontation. I remember my 2 teenage kids coming to me and said, "Dad, you're too confrontational." I thought, what? My 2 teenagers telling me I'm too confrontational? But our generation was a confrontational generation. We had to stand up against things that were wrong, and we fought those things, and we, for the most part, won. But this is a generation that wants us to stop fighting about these things and start doing something about the things that we ought to agree on for the future of the world. And Barack wants to be the president of all that generation and all of us, not just the ones that vote for him. I think that's great. The second is to have a president that understands that we have to have our moral authority restored in America. This is why I love Carol Shea Porter so much, because she gets this stuff. It matters a lot if you have moral authority as a country. The reason the Soviet Union collapsed was not just because Ronald Reagan said, "Tear down the wall, Mr. Gorbachev," and it wasn't just because we had great troops and well-trained troops and well-equipped troops. It was because what we were talking to the world about was hope, it was freedom, it was human dignity, it was human rights, it was opportunity. That's not what the Russians were talking to the world about, and eventually folks decided that with all our flaws, that they would opt for hope and opportunity and human rights and human dignity. It is not a coincidence that, in my opinion, 3 of the greatest things that have happened on this globe in terms of human interaction in the last 60 years were 1, the Marshall Plan with Harry Truman. 2, Jimmy Carter getting Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin to sign a peace treaty, the first ever between Israel and any Arab country. And 3, Bill Clinton going to Northern Ireland and getting the Catholics and the Protestants to help end 30 years of horrible sectarian terrorism on both sides, which killed 3,000 innocent women and children. Those were extraordinary achievements, and they can only happen if the person who's bringing folks together has the moral authority to do so. And you can't get moral authority by insisting you deserve it. You have to earn it. And I'll tell you the clincher for me. There are many of them, a lot of reasons I like Senator Obama. Barack Obama said, "We don't torture as a nation." John McCain was tortured. And he didn't have the courage to stand up to George Bush to say no when George Bush vetoed the anti-waterboarding bill which you all passed. He supported the president's veto. Barack Obama knows that if you are a country, look, as individuals we like to do terrible things to the terrible people who did things to us, right? That's a human reaction. Everybody has that reaction, whether they're American or African or Asian or whatever. But Barack understands that in a country which has been the hope of the world, which has embraced in its founding documents the idea of human rights and human dignities, if you seek to lead the world and be an example for freedom and opportunity and human rights and human dignity, then you have to act like that at home and practice what you preach at home, or you have no standing in the rest of the world to do so. And that is what we need. That's what I mean by a president who will restore our moral authority. We need Carol Shea Porter in Congress because when Barack Obama becomes the president of the United States, suddenly all the influences of the Bush, Rove, Cheney, McCain administration are going to melt away. And all the good things that Nancy Pelosi, that Carol Shea Porter want to do, and all the folks in the Senate that are being blocked by the likes of John Sununu from doing it, suddenly we'll be able to do those things. And it's not like we're going to have the keys to the candy store. The candy store has been given away 1,000 times already by the Republicans, and it's up in hock up to its eyeballs. But we will be able to put back together again, the greatest country in the face of the earth. We're the greatest country on the face of the earth, not because as individuals we're better than anybody else in the world. I don't think that's true. But as a society, we embrace hope, opportunity, freedom, human rights, and human dignity as part of our founding purpose. And we think that's why we're Americans, and that's why America's here. Carol Shea Porter is one of those people. She is tough, she is smart, she doesn't take no for an answer, but she does not compromise her principles, and she's going to get elected her way, and we're all going to be better because of it. Thanks very much.